Dandadan is back once again with a new episode, as we see Momo and Okarun's adorable little relationship begin to blossom, and Turbo Granny puts Okarun through a training arc. Hello everyone, I'm Finn. Welcome back to finnfilms. Join you once again as we are breaking down everything that happened in this week's episode of Dandadan, another absolutely banging episode of this amazing anime. Once again, for Dandadan in a nutshell, this time with Season 2, Episode 7. Last time on Dandadan, we saw Sexy Granny try to exorcise the evil yokai Evil Eye from Gigi, calling on the aid of the eccentric rock band, the Hayashi, in some absolutely epic scenes. However, Gigi begs for them to stop the exorcism, as he made a promise to Evil Eye, a promise to play with it and be its friend. Sexy Grandma accepting his wishes as she begins trying to teach him how to control his spirit energy, in the hopes that one day he can control the transformation. Momo later decides to get a part-time job to help pay for the repairs on their house. Momo's friends dragging Okarun out on a tea date after school, where we see that Momo's part-time job is at a maid cafe. Episode 7 of Dandadan opens here, as Okarun awkwardly hangs out with Momo while she is working at her part-time maid cafe job. Momo doing an absolutely horrible job at being a maid, which feels pretty on brand for her as a character. Okarun blushing furiously and being hella awkward at seeing Momo in a maid outfit. Okarun wants to wait for Momo to get off work so he can walk her home, but she tells him just to go, even though you can definitely tell that she wants him to stay. We see a funny little montage of the rest of Momo's day at work as 10 o'clock finally rolls around. Momo walking onto the night street as she looks from side to side, hoping that Okarun would be there waiting for her. Just as she accepts that he is not there, Okarun finally comes running up to her, ready to walk her home, as he reaches out to hold her hand, then pulling away awkwardly. Momo deciding to take it, the two holding hands and walking home together in this absolutely adorable scene. Back at the Ayase home, we see Gigi is continuing his spirit energy training. Sexy Grandma deciding it's time that they put him to the test, as she splashes room temperature soy sauce on him. Gigi struggling, but barely managing to hold back the Evil Eye transformation. While this is good progress and Gigi is a prodigy, Grandma still thinks that he has a long way to go, but this is a good step towards getting Gigi back to his regular life. Momo and Okarun finally arrive home, warming themselves up from the cold, as we watch them take the hot thermoses of water. Gigi and Ira excitedly rushing to them, bumping into one another, Ira spilling her boba drink onto Gigi. They all quickly try to splash warm water on him, but before they can, Gigi transforms into the Evil Eye spirit using his spirit house to block the water, trapping him and Momo inside. Okarun and the others can only watch on in horror as Evil Eye is about to beat the absolute shit out of Momo, but she manages to use her spirit powers in time to hold him back, even if just for a second. Evil Eye though is too strong, fighting back. Reaching out, he attempts to choke Momo. Momo, in a last-ditch effort, spitting out the hot water she drank when they got home onto Gigi, transforming him back. Gigi, now back to normal, looked down at her, absolutely horrified at what he was about to do to her. Okarun pushing him out of the way to check on Momo. Gigi in this moment seeing the spark that is beginning to grow between Okarun and Momo. Later that night, Ira and Momo are in their bedroom, Momo reading a boxing manga, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be a reference to Hajime no Ippo, which is a absolute banger anime and manga, by the way. Ira apologizes to Momo, saying it was her drink, so it was her fault, and she almost got her really hurt, and she'll be more careful next time. Meanwhile, we see that Gigi and Okarun are in a bit of an awkward situation. The next day, Okarun goes and visits Mr. Mantis, the alien, wanting him to teach him how to punch. But Mantis refuses, saying violence is not the answer, as he puts Okarun to work. Okarun, though, is still desperate to learn how to punch, as he thinks that this will help him defeat the Evil Eye. Okarun arriving home late that evening, and again we see this awkward rift beginning to form between Gigi and Okarun. Manjiro then talks to Sexy Grandma, saying that they have no option but to call for the Hayashi again and do the exorcism. Manjiro believing despite Gigi's powerful spirit, it is impossible for him to control the Evil Eye. Later that evening, we see Okarun has taken Momo's boxing manga and is trying to use it to learn how to throw a punch. Now, this is definitely a reference to Hajime no Ippo, this scene almost being one-to-one from Hajime no Ippo. And to be fair to Okarun, this manga and anime is a pretty shockingly realistic depiction of boxing and boxing techniques. Turbo Granny then finds Okarun practicing and asks him why he wants to learn to punch. Okarun saying he wants to become stronger and that he's been pissed off, and he wants to beat up Evil Eye. Turbo Granny asking if he wants to become stronger or learn how to punch, Okarun not understanding the difference in the question. Granny then deciding to take Okarun to the school to train him to get stronger, as Ira sneaks along with them. Ira and Turbo Granny getting in a shouting match, Ira transforming into her yokai form as she smacks around Turbo Granny in this very obvious JoJo's reference. Granny then takes them to the music room where she explains why Okarun is so weak, that Okarun's combat rhythm is slow compared to the others, and he can only do 2 combat switches per 1 beat. Meanwhile, Ira can do 4, and Evil Eye can do up to 10, showing just how stronger and faster Evil Eye is compared to Okarun. Suddenly, though, the group are interrupted by the yokai spirits of several famous composers as the episode ends. And yes, that was Dandadan Season 2, Episode 7 in a nutshell. Another absolutely amazing episode, and another, I think, really interesting, fun example of like what makes Dandadan such a unique and really good anime. I've said this a million times, but Dandadan at its core is like a romance comedy that is disguising itself as like a shonen anime. It has all of the kind of tropes that you would expect from a shonen anime, a like group of friends all together, all having powers and going on adventures together. However, it's very obvious that the core theme of the anime is the rom-com. It is the romance comedy between Okarun and Momo. This very unlikely relationship, this unlikely two characters coming together in a very adorable, very cute romance. And this anime is obviously very much an insane comedy with hilarious, random as hell, just all over the place moments littering every single episode. But also within almost every single episode, there are these really serious, deep, emotional moments, the really profound moments that make you think. This episode very much focusing on the kind of breakdown of the friendship between Gigi and Okarun, as Okarun is very angry at Gigi for, putting Momo in danger. Meanwhile, there is also this kind of tension, this love triangle tension between Gigi, Momo, and Okarun. The fact that both boys very much like Momo, but it seems like Momo and Okarun's relationship is slowly beginning to blossom here. Gigi coming to realize this, while also coming to grips with the fact that his selfishness in many ways, his not wanting to get rid of the evil eye spirit, is very much putting his friends in danger. The anime very much delving into this kind of complex series of relationships and these very complex emotions through a number of scenes in this anime, and a lot of them not even containing dialogue, just being as simple as Okarun and Gigi having these very awkward looks to one another. Something that is super, super subtle, but I absolutely love in terms of storytelling. This anime low-key continues to surprise me every single time. On the surface, again, it is a very silly, over-the-top, absolutely ridiculous, super random as hell anime. It would be very easy to watch episodes of Dandadan and just come away thinking that it's a very silly, fun comedy with, adorable, kooky characters. But oftentimes it is so much deeper than that. There are all of these moments scattered throughout this series so far of really deep and profound moments and really interesting kind of themes of storytelling, especially with how our author tells the story and the interactions between these two characters, this group of characters. That very much is the kind of core, I think, of Dandadan. Besides the romance comedy, it is very much the diverse relationships between these group of characters and how these characters are evolving with each other and how their relationships are changing with each other, and really the very subtle ways at which we see these relationships changing, something that is a very interesting, storytelling, storytelling method, as it would be a lot easier to just, come out and show us through, a dialogue scene that there is obviously tension between Gigi and Okarun, but the way they do it is extremely subtle. It's through the awkwardness of them being together in a room, through the, slight looks that they give each other. This is very subtle storytelling, and it really makes, this anime, an anime that at its core, again, is a romance comedy. It is a kooky, out-of-the-box, completely random as hell comedy, but it makes it so much deeper than that. Again, I'm absolutely loving Dandadan. It honestly does continue to surprise me, almost with, every single episode. This anime is all over the place in terms of its genre. I mean, again, that is pretty on brand for Dandadan, an anime that is random as hell, especially in its comedy. but it really is all over the place in terms of like the themes that it's touching on. At one moment, it is a shonen battle anime, next switching to a funny, kooky, over-the-top comedy, then to a romance drama, then to a romance comedy, and then to a deep, kind of just deep, interesting story of a diverse set of characters that very much care for one another. And I think that it's like all of this together that has made Dandadan such a popular, interesting anime. It really does hit like so many different genres that there are so many different things that that fans of anime could fall in love with this anime for. Maybe you like the hilarious, random kind of comedy of this anime. Maybe you like the fun shonen battle scenes and interactions between all of these characters and the fun supernatural yokai themes. Maybe you like the romance drama of Okarun and Momo. Maybe you're very invested in these two characters' relationships, or maybe it's just something in between. This anime really does have something for everyone, and then you throw in the really epic, at times, absolutely beautiful animations with a banging, awesome as hell soundtrack, and you got yourself one of the best anime that I think have come out in years, and there is very much a reason, all of this together, why Dandadan has become probably the most popular anime out right now. I am extremely invested in this anime, in this adorable relationship between Okarun and Momo, and really just the relationship between all of these characters together, their friendship, the romance, dynamic drama, all of the love triangles going on here, as I'm very curious to see what's going to happen between Momo and Okarun as far as their relationship goes in the future. Right now, it seems like things are looking pretty rosy, but I wonder if there might be a little bit of a setback, as the kind of romance between Momo and Okarun is ultimately like the end goal of this anime. So part of me wonders if something will happen between these two characters that will force maybe Momo to go towards Gigi, or something along that for eventually the two of them, in Momo and Okarun, getting back together at some point later on down the road. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Also, it will be fun to see Okarun go through this training arc to eventually gain enough power and strength to where he feels like he can protect Momo and put the evil eye in its place, and also to see Gigi ultimately go through his own kind of growth training arc and be able to eventually, I imagine, control the evil eye spirit so he can have his own yokai powers like everyone else in the little friend group. For all of these things, though, we're just gonna have to wait until next week's episode of Dandadan to ultimately see what happens. I have to say, though, that I am very much loving this anime. Out of all of the banging anime that have come out in the last 2 years, and especially in 2025, 2025 has been an absolute insane year for anime. Dandadan Season 2 is by far one of my favorites, probably up there with anime, new shonen anime like Gacha Akuta, and probably one of my favorite animes that have come out in 2025, the new horror, supernatural, weird horror anime, The Summer Hikaru Died. If you haven't seen that, guys, highly recommend checking it out because it is absolutely insane. As always, though, guys, with these videos, these are just my thoughts and opinions, so feel free to let me know yours in the comment section down below. Let me know in the comment section, what did you think of this week's episode of Dandadan? What do you think of this blossoming relationship between Okarun and Momo? If you did enjoy this video, guys, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as that is the easiest way to support me, and it really does go a long way in putting this video into the algorithm. If you did like this video, then want to check out some of my other anime content on screen now. And as always, I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, guys. Until next time, peace, love, Adu.